Hi guys, how's it going today? So the sun just finally decided to pop out, even though it's like 8 o'clock now, so it's not going to be doing a whole hell of a lot for drying. So I did notice there's one guy here in town, he's cutting a little bit of hay. I don't know if he's doing it for the young guy or if he's just taking it for himself, but they cut that field over by the yellow house, which is across the street from us, and then they cut part of that family's yard there, the blue house, that's neighbors to us. Usually the young guy never cuts that yard because that guy never mows his yard, so. But they got their baler sitting over there now too, so they must plan on baling it. That grass is ready to be baled, but they might bale it tomorrow, I suppose, or something. I don't really know, but still no young guy as of yet. He should be coming hopefully sometime this week. I don't really know, or the next week coming up, or whatever, however you want to look at it. So I don't know, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. But I managed to mow a little bit more of this now. I don't know how good it shows up on camera, I guess, compared, but yeah, I got a little bit further. I also remembered to come down here and dig out that piece of metal that was laying in here. Actually, what that piece of metal was actually a pile of garage door rollers. The whole thing was a pile of them. I guess they just got caked in mud, it all just got stuck together. So that's what that was. So I finally dug them out. I don't know if I'll be hitting any more junk or not, because I still got a ways to go yet. And this is finally getting dry. There's no water here now, but I don't think I might be able to mow. It'll be another solid week before I get to mow again. I did drive through here with Big Red a little bit, but obviously I didn't want to sink Big Red too bad. So obviously where the grass isn't growing is where it was underwater for the longest time ever. So this actually should, I think I drove on this. It felt a little, yeah, she's a little mushy. Oh yeah. So it's probably pretty much muddy down there too. But even where I'm walking right now is where I was able to always mow it. So looks like there's a, I don't know what the hell that was, but yeah, I don't know. But I usually mow all this too, but obviously I can't get there yet. And I don't know if I'll even get to it this year because it needs to dry out. And right now we're having another kind of you can tell by me wearing a sweater, we kind of had another cool day. It just didn't get very warm, and it was cloudy most of the day too, so that's why it didn't get very warm. So, but what are you gonna do? So there's something squeaking. And I also finally remembered to pick up that log that was laying over here, so it looks a little bit better over here now too. Because that log's not laying here anymore. So yay about that. So, but yeah, so calving season officially starts today, but I'll start watching a little bit better tomorrow. But so the calving season finally starts for us, and who knows when they'll exactly calf, because they could all calf at different times of the day, or it could be weeks apart, or who knows. But the bull's here longer than he really should have been, so hopefully all the cows are, well, they're knocked up, but I don't know. So given how things are going this year, I don't know, but So we'll start watching for calves, I guess, a little bit more often now, and we'll just see who has a calf first, because I don't remember who got bred, because I know that when the bull was brought here later that evening, I seen him already mating with a cow, but now I don't, because that was such a long time ago. I don't remember who he was, getting knocked up that evening. So, but I guess it'll be whoever I guess kind of calves first. I guess will be the one that probably got breaded first, because I don't remember now. But yeah, just kind of how things are going this year. My grandma's she's, I think, about 90% certain that we're going to go ahead and skip this year for bringing the bull over to rebreed the cows for this year, because one, they're going to be calving too late. There's something on the dike there, or somebody in my field? No, maybe not. Maybe I'm just hearing things. But yeah, so because the way it's going to work out is if they breed or if they calve, and calving could take up to a month or two, depending on how quick they decide to pop out babies. But some can pop out calves right away. Some could take an extra couple of weeks, because they're not quite ready yet. So it's going to be getting too late, because the problem with that is our calving date is getting all fucked up because the young guy brought the bull too late. I think he was using it. Apparently he had like 3 bulls or 2 bulls, but one was in the hospital getting worked on, in his barn getting worked on. And then the one that he brought us was the one that he was using for quite a long time there to get his cows breeded. So, but since he brought the bull so late to begin with, a lot of it's out of our hands anyway. But the problem is that it's screwing up our calving season, and we want to calve, in June and July, not August, September, and then getting later all the time. Because what's going to happen, the cows are going to at least have to have a month or two, for nursing and healing. Okay, well, there goes 2 months or so or whatever, and then by then it's winter. And then if they get pregnant in the middle of winter, well, that means that they're going to most likely calve in the middle of winter, and we don't want that, period. Especially like, December and January or whatever. Those are usually the coldest months out of the whole year, so we don't want calves at that time. It wouldn't matter so much, I guess, if we were able to keep them in a barn, that was heated or whatever, like if we were really high-tech and fancy. But and if we had the storage capacity to just lock them all up and leave them locked up until they calved and the calves were big enough. But our cows have to calve outside. But we will lock them up in the barnyard for a couple of weeks, just so the calves have time to grow and learn things and whatever, and so we can keep a better eye on them as well. But they can go in and out of the barn as they please, because we'll leave the door open. But we don't want to have to deal with calving in the middle of winter time, because even when we were calving back in, like, I don't know, it was the end of winter, but it was getting close to spring, but we were still having, you would have some good days, but then you would also get a lot of shitty days, and a lot of days were really cold, it was storming a lot, and we've lost a lot of calves that way, so it's easier just for us to calve in the summertime. But given how things are this year with haying and our calving date, not, it's been fucked up now, so it's not in our favor anymore. So we're pretty much positive that we're gonna unfortunately bite the bullet and just skip a year, which will be this year, bringing the bull around, because it's just too much of a hectic year, and our calving date's all screwed up, and we're not doing that. We're gonna calve when we want to calve, so yeah, it's the young guy that has to bring the bull, and I don't know what I imagine he uses them too, obviously, because he usually calves more, around the same time that we used to do it there, but we don't do that anymore. But he still does it, which is fine by him. Obviously, that's what works for him, but it doesn't work for us. So, and he's lost quite a few calves this year too. When we were getting hay there, he was saying how many calves he's lost and stuff. But that, I think, you're going to get years like that anyway. But it may not affect him all that much, because he's got close to 100 head of cattle. So okay, well, you got a few cows that maybe will just not get bred or whatever. Well, see, for us, that hurts our bottom line, because we don't have that many cows to begin with. So I'm trying to grow my herd, but I keep getting slapped in the dick with problems that are out of my control. So if my cow doesn't calf this year, then I'm most likely just going to get rid of her, because she's obviously going to be an issue. She could have gotten messed up, even though she was, she's a few years old now. But I don't know, the twins, when she had those twins, they could have done something to her too. But she should have been able to handle it. But that was her first set, and I guess she freaked out or something. Usually that kind of happens too when they have twins for the first time. They get kind of freaky, or they get freaked out, and then they push out their calves sooner than they really should have. So she might know better now. She might have obviously learned from that. But the problem is that she's, if it damaged her in any way, usually it's not supposed to, unless they're really, really small, which is what happened to my second cow. She got pregnant too early, and it messed her up, and she had no problem getting knocked up, but she never could push out a calf right, so she had to go. So that's why it put me back down to one cow again, which, hurting my bottom line, because now this cow isn't really doing all that hot either. The last cow she's had were those twins. She never calved last year. She should have, but she never did. And she don't calf again this year, well then she's going down the road. She's done here. I'm not going to put up with it. So my grandma thinks that, they kind of just do it more or less for a hobby. She thinks that I'm doing it for a hobby. Well, no. If I'm doing this, I'm going to try to make a living out of it. Obviously I'm not going to get filthy rich, but I'm not going to do it just for the hell of it. I'm going to do it to give me an income, but I'm getting, slapped in the face in other areas with calving issues. So the game plans are, depending on what she does, it all boils down to what the cows obviously do. First, it'll boil down to what my cow will do. Either she has a bull or a heifer. I would either prefer a heifer, because I kind of need one, but if I get a bull, well, that's all right too. It's, it doesn't hurt me. I don't really care which one we get, but I would prefer a heifer this year. And then depending on how many heifers my uncle has, because he might want to keep a couple for himself, but depending on how many he has, he may not want to keep all of them. Not saying that all his cows are going to have heifers, but if they should, he may not want all of them. So I might buy one off of him if he decides that he doesn't want one. So, and if that goes good to where I can get a heifer from my cow, from mine, and then get one from my uncle, well then that's three. I have 3 cows then, even though I got 2 that ain't going to be able to do anything for a couple of years, but that's all right. It's still the fact that, hey, you just grew your herd by 2 cows, so, but that all, like I said, it all boils down to what my cow does and then what my uncle's cows do from there. if my cow has a heifer, that's great news. If my uncle has more heifers than he wants, well, then I can buy one off of him. At least he'd be more willing to work with me on price and stuff like that. So it'd be easier for me. You know, and then I would have 3 cows. But that's only if things go my way for once. But if they don't, well, then obviously then I get screwed again. But, you know, those are just... It's just kind of the way it needs to work. You know, that's the only way it's really going to make... Let me word it differently. That's the only way I'm going to grow my herd really quick, is if this plays out to the way I would like it to. Not saying that it will, but it would be nice if it did. Because then I would have 3 cows. But even if I had a bull, I could still turn around and sell that bull. But, you know, again, that would be another year later that I would get to do that. So then I could probably go buy a heifer, maybe off the young guy. He might be willing to sell me one. I don't know. And then I'd be back up to 2 again, which would be all right. It would put me back at where I was for the last couple of years, but it would just work out better if it went the way that I want it to go. You know, my cow has a heifer. My uncle's cows have too many heifers, and he wants to sell one. Well, then I'll buy one off of him, and then that'll give me 3. That'll give me 3 cows. So, because in order, whoever's playing the truck horns can shove those horns right up your ass. The only way I can ever buy haying equipment, you know, well, that baler that I was looking at, that BR 7090, that's gone. I knew it was going to sell. I knew it was going to sell eventually. There's no way that I think it could sit there forever. So either it's sold or it got shipped far, far away. Usually if things sit a while, then they get shipped far, far away, and then somebody else will buy them. So that could have happened too, but I'm hoping that it obviously got sold to somebody. Somebody was looking for a newer baler or something, which, whatever, is fine. So my best bet now would be to go for an 855 baler, because those balers you can get pretty damn cheap. And there's one baler that I'm watching right now. It is a couple states away. That baler's been for sale for I think almost 2 years now, so nobody really wants it. But I don't know why. It's a really good, nice baler. But that's also a New Holland 855, so it is like an older baler. But I do like those balers as well, because you can see through them, you know. So I think with that baler though, since it basically looked brand new. It looked like it was rebuilt, or they restored it, or they just cleaned it up really good or something. I don't know what the hell they did, but it'd be worth buying. The problem with those balers is, well, with that baler anyways, that's going to cost more money. You're probably talking maybe $4,000, maybe $5,000. It really just kind of depends. And then if I have to get the thing trucked in on a semi, that could cost another $1,000 or $2,000. You know, so you're talking a lot just for a baler. Never mind, you know, a cutter, which could cost, you know, a lot of money. So yeah, I guess I could buy something used for now. Well, everything I buy is going to be used pretty much, but I could get something much older. But then the problem with them is that they're more wore out. They've had too many acres ran through them, and, you know, parts might be harder to come by. You know, unless you get a brand that you're, you know, like John Deere or Case IH or International, they might still carry those kind of parts. But I know the young guy, the one cutter that he had, I think it was a Case International, but I don't remember the model number. But it had the hitch on only the one side, so you couldn't pivot it left or right. It was only a right-hand side cutter. So I could get away with something like that. It'd be all right. It would do. But the problem is that you got to have the cows in order to really pay for that, you know. Because you can't spend money, and then never really get this money back. I mean, if I might as well just say I'd probably end up spending $15,000 on haying equipment. You know, if I went with some really good used stuff. or for at least a good baler and whatever for a cutter. Well, let's just say $15,000 I spent on a cutter. I kind of need to be able to get that money back over time, not just never really, that's not really an option. So, because if you spend all this money and you never get your money back out of it, well then, what the hell then? So, and then we need a new barn put on top of that. Well, I'll probably just end up getting a pole barn because they're fairly cheap. But again, you gotta hire somebody to knock the old barn down, get rid of it, get rid of the concrete slab that's there because it's no good for the new barn setup. And then hire somebody that can build a new barn, pull permits, do all that fucking horse shit. Because here in Minnesota, you got to pull permits. And you actually got to pay for that. When back in the day, they were free. So, but that's all going to cost money too. So, but, I don't know. I probably could sink easily another $15,000 to $20,000 into a barn. I think the young guy said that he paid about $15,000 for his, and his isn't really all that big. So, but it's a simple design. It's nothing fancy. So, and we don't really need nothing fancy either. We just need something with, windows and four sides and a roof and a big door so we can get the cows in and out. Good enough. I think on his, it looked like he actually had garage doors on them, which I don't know, maybe that's the only thing you can get put on those type of buildings, but that's kind of not really going to work for us because the cows will just smash them all to bits anyway. But I guess no matter what you put, they're gonna smash them. But garage doors are pretty expensive to get replaced all the time, especially when the cows want to rub their head on it or they kick it or they want to try to go through it, that kind of stupid thing. So I don't know. But for us, yeah, a pole barn is about the cheapest route you can go, and it would be, we could always add power ourselves, because even our old barn's got power, and we would have to have power because we would have to have lights. But again, nothing super fancy. We probably could do it all ourselves, even though we're not electricians, but for what we need to get done, I think we could manage. So, but, I don't know. So, but, that's all going to take time. So, I've been doing this for a long time already, and it's just, there's nothing really to show for it, but that's all because of the cow being kind of a bitch, and just calving season being kind of a bitch, and just not getting nothing done. And that's what's getting frustrating to me, is because for the amount of time that I've been doing this, I should be having either way more cows than this, or I should either be having maybe another tractor on the farm, like a smaller tractor, or maybe at least one hang piecing equipment, like a baler or a cutter, whatever I can get, whatever I can find to my liking, So, like, that's kind of another thing too. That's another thing that kind of pisses me off for the young guy, because he always brings that subject up. It's like, oh, just go do it. Do you want to pull money out of your bank account? Because mine's broke. Mine's empty. Everybody acts like I have millions of dollars sitting in my bank account. If I did, I'd have a hell of a lot nicer house than what I have now. The barn or the farm would be completely redone by now. I would have had 30 of these things by now. So I'm not rich. So just because I have, supposedly was a nice 4-wheeler, it's not really all that nice now, but but the Tahoe, that's obviously a pretty nice rig for the year, but I kind of had to work my ass off for that kind of too. So I kind of just couldn't just pull money out of my ass. It's just like, the only way I could do that is I would have to take out a bank loan. Okay, you know what bank loans cost in return to pay all that back, and then plus all the fees and crap they throw on top of that? I'd probably be paying on a new barn, going through them for most of my life. I'd probably never get out of debt with them. And I don't really want to use the bank unless it's some kind of a dire emergency. Like if I lose my house for some reason, then I want to be able to go to them for that. So, because a house is way more important than anything else. So, that's another thing too. My house needs a lot of work. I still need a new roof put on. Would be nice to get the septic tank replaced because that's a joke. That actually started working again. It was kind of fucked up for a while, so we think that maybe it had a chunk of ice inside or something, so all the water was just bypassing and going to the second tank that was in place, even though I had filled it with dirt because it caved in. But I don't know, I guess water's somehow still getting in there, but I don't know. But that house needs a lot of work, you know, and that all costs money. A brand new roof isn't bad. That's about the same price as a good used baler, but, you know, I got to get a new roof put on my house and get some other little things taken care of, and really need to get a new one of these. And then, kind of depending on how calving goes over those next few years or something, you know, maybe invest in some haying equipment again, but I don't know. That was kind of the plans for last year too. If calving season went good, then I was going to invest in some haying equipment. But then since calving season took a shit, I decided to go get the Tahoe and a few other things. So, and then the snowblower. So, you know, things have to play out certain ways, and if they don't happen, then I will invest my money somewhere else. So, and come to find out, I think investing in a Tahoe was probably a smarter idea, because I kind of need my own vehicle. And the Pontiac, even though it's got, you know, it's got almost 130,000 miles on it now, but she's beginning to show her age. She's getting wore out. So it's not going to be too much longer, and that Pontiac's going to be parked and just used for parts. So kind of needs to be, you know, probably for the best that we did get a vehicle. So even though it's not a truck like I wanted, but you know what? I think having a diesel pickup would have been kind of more annoying, because I'm driving a diesel pickup into town. You know, even though I don't really give a shit whatever people think, but, you know, it's just, you know, big trucks like that they're a little more harder to drive in town. They're a little more clumsy. Even though my Blazer's pretty big too, but she's got the shorter wheelbase than the other ones. There are other models out there that are a little bit bigger. They got a longer wheelbase put on them, but that's where the maximum size families, you know, the big freaking families that got it like 10 kids or so, you know. So, but yeah, and the Tahoe, that needs work, needs things done to it, and whatever else. And so that should be ready to go here hopefully next month. I'm hoping next month sometime it should be just about ready, which is still a little tacky here yet. Yeah, it was wet here when I mowed it last time. We got so much damn rain. So, but yeah, I don't know. So, but yeah, people just need to quit telling me that, you know, like, especially the young guy. I'm getting kind of sick and tired of hearing that. He's been saying that quite a bit. Just go do it yourself, you know, pay for it yourself. Do you want to see my bank account? Because there's nothing in it. You might find a couple of dollars, but what can I do with a couple of dollars, right? So, I'm not rich like I used to be. Well, technically I was never rich, but it takes time for me to save up money and do this and do that and do other stuff, you know, and most of all, to even make any of this worthwhile, is we got to get more cows. If I can get more cows and they can calve without an issue, at least for a few years, then maybe I can start investing in some haying equipment or, you know, or something, you know. It's like, if you're not going to give me a calf, well, then I'm not going to spend money on it. So I've already spent enough money for farming already, you know, investing all that electric fencing crap and that sprayer, which I can use it for my place too, but it's kind of meant for both my place and the farm. So, but yeah, I don't know. So kind of just you need more cows in order to really pay for anything. people think that you can just pull money out of your bank account or whatever, you know. It doesn't work like that. Wish it did, but it don't. So I guess with time, but the main thing is calving needs to smarten its ass up and start calving normal. So I don't know, but from the way it sounds, we're not going to get the bull this year because it's getting too late. The time calving season's done with, and the calves or the cows heal, you know, from pushing out calves, it's going to be too late. And then the bull's got to be here for a couple of, or at least a month or two or whatever, you know. Okay, well then by then it's already winter time, so then we've done pushed calving into winter time. So might as well just bite the freaking bullet now, given how the year's been such a cocksucker for every square inch of everything. Things delayed by a month. You know, it's been so cold and rainy and bullshitty, so, but, and then given how the young guy's so behind on everything, I don't know where he's at right now, but we know he's still out cutting and baling and trying to get shit done. And of course, when the rains, and he gets fucked too. So, given how it is, it's just best to take one less thing off his mind and then just skip the bull for this year. You might as well just do it now and get it over with, so then we can bite the damn bullet and get it done and over with. So, but the problem is the young guy's got to kind of keep up with that too. I get that he has problems too, but I guess you just got to try to be more ahead of it, I guess. That's really the only thing you can do. I'm not trying to sound like a dick or anything, but when you bring the bull so late in the year, it pushes calving season off for us, and then it's too late. We're not calving in the wintertime. We're done with that crap. So it's easier just to kind of skip it for this year and then see how next year goes. Hopefully things would be a little bit better, so that way the bull can be brought on time. Maybe the young guy will have an extra bull floating around instead of just the usual 2 or 3 that he has, or whatever. Maybe he'll get a 4th one, to kind of help out. So, but there's nothing to really do about it. So, well, there's something we can do about it. We're just not going to accept the bull. If that's the way it has to be, well, then I guess that's just the way it's going to have to be, because we're not going to be pushing off calving. Calving should have already had ended pretty much by now, So, or we should have been at least in the middle of it by now, but it doesn't really officially begin, I guess, until today or tomorrow for me, but the official date is today. But so I gotta start watching for calves now and see if we get anything. If not, well then I guess we cry about it, bitch about it for a while, but nothing to really do about it. But for how long the bull is here this time, there is no reason for all these cows to not calving. If they, if one decides to skip or whatever, okay, well, we can go back on his history log and see if it's a problem cow, or if she's just decided to skip this year. I don't know. So, but if mine skips this year again, she's out. She's done. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. Either she's being a bitch for a reason, or she's just messed up inside because of the twins. So, but yeah, if she don't calf this year, then she's done. I'm not gonna put up with it anymore. I'll go get me another heifer, and there's something a little more worthwhile. So try it all over again, I guess. And if that don't work, well, I think I'm just gonna retire from raising cattle, and I guess and go do something else then, because I don't have time for it. I'm wasting time doing it and wasting money, and I don't hardly get any money back out of it. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, so we'll start watching for calves and see what happens, I guess. See if See if we get any extra cat. Oh, I'll see if we get any calves this year, or if we're just gonna get screwed in the ass and say, nope, you get nothing. So, but I don't know. So, because all we can do is just kind of, I guess, wait and see, I guess. But what are you gonna do? So, but anyways, guys, I guess I'm gonna take off. Just wanted to give you guys a little update to what's going on over here in this shithole, I guess. Calving season's started officially, and then it'll start tomorrow for me, but calendar-wise, it's actually today. So, but we'll look it over, I guess, and watch the calves and keep an eye on them, I guess, or whatever, and see what happens. So, lots of weird noises going on over there. Whatever. But yeah, so hopefully things will. It'll probably be better next year, but then we probably won't get much for rain either, right? So it'll be like a drought. So it's always something, I guess, to make these years miserable. But I think the icing on the cake is pretty much, no calves. That's kind of what, screws you over. It's like you wait this whole entire year for one little miracle to happen, and it doesn't happen, so it gets a little old, especially for me, it does. So, but anyways, guys, I guess I'm going to take off, so I guess have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.